This fort is not entirely excavated. There is pretty much more work to be done. And one of the center points of the things that you're going to see here is the main building of the Roman fort. This is the so-called Principia, which is discovered in 2004, 2005, and has been entirely excavated. So the Principia is the military headquarters of the Roman fort. In the recent years, specifically following the project for establishing the route of the Roman emperors and the Danube route, there are quite a lot of foreign tourists started to come here because they find information on their own in the internet and they find their way to here. So we have a very large number of individual foreign tourists, like for example from Spain, even from Australia, from the United Kingdom, from all over Europe, but not only. So as far as I remember, the last year, half of the entire number of visitors were foreigners, which is pretty interesting because in the other sites it's not like this. So each of the sites has a specific audience. But here when we talk about Roman heritage, which is universal for Europe, it is normal to have quite a lot of interest from abroad too. The temple dedicated to Mithra is usually constructed inside a cave. So there you have darkness, you have quite a lot of humidity. We have all of them here. It is important to say, however, that votive plates dedicated to Mithra are discovered here on the site, but such a Mithraeum is not yet discovered. So this is not a reproduction of something real here on the site, but it contains all the specifics of a Mithraeum. This is the fortification wall here. This is the so-called northwestern fortification wall. Of course, we have to mention that back in antiquity the terrain was not actually like that, because here we can see the wall and over there it disappears. So the hill was pretty much lower at that time, and we discovered the wall in the middle of the height of the hill over there in the year 2012. We can see a model of presumably what actually a ship called Pristis may have looked like. This is a very specific scientific question actually, because Pristis is not very important as a name, especially in the Roman Empire, but it is something derived from the Hellenistic period. So specialists are not sure whether it is a large ship, for example, that could collect 100 soldiers, because 60 ships this way consist entirely one legion. So 60 ships with 100 people is 6,000 people. One of the ideas of having a reproduction of such a guard tower is the idea is that the chain of Roman fortresses was established in such a way that one can have visual contact with the following and the previous forts. So whenever there is a problem, you have to be able to see the previous fortification, and if they need help, you can assist them, because there is not many ways of communication at that time, back in the 1st century. And it is covered with such wooden plates because we know for sure that earlier Roman forts were entirely made of wood. And then back in the 3rd century, they started to construct them in a more massive way, more sustainable way.